Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Himes here, Bob Stewart over there. Bob, how you doing today?
Well, you said you're going to play a character today, and I'm scared that I'm going to be the target of your character.
I am not going to pick on you, Bob.
Okay, good. So I'm good then. I'm good.
Okay. It's always an interesting question. Our audience, they just love the episodes. They don't know how, what, when we record them and all that stuff. I always enjoy when we have the opportunity to do back-to-back recordings and our calendar works out that way every, once a month, maybe we do we get an opportunity to do 2 episodes at a time. I always love when we come for the second episode and I ask how you're doing as though we didn't just spend an hour together having the conversation, waiting to see how you're going to respond this time.
The second time, yeah.
Give us something original and different from the last one, Bob. So to our 8 listeners that I think we're up to now, there's a behind the scenes that, yes, Bob and I have spent the last hour working on podcast episodes. That makes that a little fun.
Chad already knew how I was doing is his point. He did that for you guys.
That's right, because that's just the opening of the podcast, and I know they're all excited and they're all here. I don't have to ask you, Bob. I know it's summer. It's hot. If you were stopping by the ice cream place with the kids to grab an ice cream, I know there's no doubt, no hesitation. Bob Stewart is grabbing a vanilla cone, correct?
Most of the time. Sometimes I might get a little squirrely and maybe want the a chocolate chip cookie dough or something. But yeah, okay. For the most part.
I bring that up only to bring up ice cream. Right, folks, there was no hidden agenda behind that. I just obviously have ice cream on my mind, and we'll probably going to find some gelato later this afternoon because it is hot. There is a heat wave happening across this country right now, Bob Stewart.
There is. Chad, I was in Cabo last week. And
yes.
The place we stay at, it's like an all-inclusive. That's kind of why we go to Mexico, so we can just eat as much as we want, not have to worry about the bill. And they have an ice cream station that has it's got gelato, it's got ice cream, it's got all
toppings.
It's got to have at least Baskin Robbins level 32 flavors. Yeah, the toppings. So
31, Bob. It's 31.
31? All right. Well, I'm trying to make them move into the 21st century. Let's get an extra flavor. I'm sure they can figure it out. But my boys, there was definitely 2 stops a day at the ice cream station. So I'm full of ice cream right now. Still.
Sounds lovely. All right, Bob, do you have a favorite book and business related? I'm not going to put Count of Monte Cristo is my favorite all-time book. Yet when we go business and I say mindset, business success, growth, do you have a favorite that comes to mind real quickly?
There's a couple. I like the Influence, written by a guy named Robert Cialdini, is one of my favorites. One of the first books that Ben ever asked me to read. And so that's definitely one. I kind of know where you're going here. The book, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a really, really good one. I like Sinju, The Art of War. I think that's a great business book that John Washburn introduced me to years and years ago. I think there's a lot of business philosophies hiding inside of the Art of War, but those are a couple.
Yeah, I'm going to tell a quick little 7 Habits story. It is hands down one of, I think it's like the daddy of all self-help business growth life books. Right, I'll put How to Win Friends and Influence People as the granddaddy.
Sure.
This is probably the daddy of all the books out there. And a friend of mine, a real high producer, name won't get mentioned, not in the real estate industry, but a real high producer. He was at a mastermind event with a top speaker and some top producers of various industries. And the guy was talking about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And he said to everybody in that room, I've got $500 for anybody without their cell phone who in order can tell me the 7 habits of highly effective people. And he put the $500 on the counter. And nobody in the room, Bob, could name the 7 habits of highly effective people in order. Some of them got like 5 of them, and someone else got some others. And between them, they had the 8 habits of the 7 because, someone was wrong and they didn't know. I thought that was pretty eye-opening. And my daughter was probably around 12 years old at the time. And I was giving her business books, self-help books, to give her a step up on people. And I gave her the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens at that time. So it was written at her level, not reading the business book. And she had to learn what they were. And the way she earned the money, I would pay her when she could do a book report on it, was she had to explain the book to Nita. Because if Nita understood everything about the book from what my daughter Simone explained, then she obviously comprehended. Whereas I would give her the benefit of the doubt because I knew what she was attempting to say. And she created an acronym, and it was PEFWUS, PEFWUSS. And she remembered that as the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I won't get into what they are. You can all go look up what PEFWUS is. That's the acronym that she created to learn that, because I told her I don't want you to ever be in a room where if someone ever asks, you don't know. And a year later, when she was back visiting, we were in a bookstore. And as we walked into, you remember bookstores?
I have a local one here that's actually pretty good. It's the
So
second
we walked into a Barnes and Noble that was not far from us. And they had that book right in the doorway, right? They were doing some back to school promo or whatever with smart books and stuff. And we walked in, and I said to my daughter, I said, okay, you're going to buy a book for yourself to read for the summer. I'll buy you a book if you can remember what the 7 habits were. It's been a year. My mother was visiting at the same time, and she said, I'll buy you a book if you can remember. And my daughter was walking around the store, and I kept an eye on her just to make sure she didn't go to the book. Kept an eye on her, and all of a sudden, I hear screaming from across the bookstore, PEFWUS! And she's come run to find me, and she says, it's PEFWUS. Here's what they are. Blah, 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 blah. And she lists off the 7 habits of highly effective people. So many people know the book. I guarantee 90% of our audience has read it, read cliff notes on it, knows them, has heard it, whatever it is.
Seen some person on stage present them or
something. Yeah. You can't tell you what they are. So, Bob, I didn't want to focus on the 7 habits of highly effective people because there's so many things out there about it, right? Go Google it. It'll be to you in no time. You've probably Googled while I'm talking saying, I'm going to figure out what they are before Chad tells me what PEFWUS stood for. I'm not going to tell you. Go look them up. I'm also done with the 5 a.m. club. I'm done with 10 steps to a million. I'm done with, Miracle Morning and all of those books that have all these wonderful things. Bob, today we're going to talk about the 7 habits of highly ineffective people.
Oh.
Here's the challenge, audience. Don't have these. And I guarantee everyone has at least one.
This is a rare switcheroo on you guys. Normally we're like, do this. Now we're like, don't do this.
That's right. Do not have these habits. The first habit of highly ineffective people, Bob, is the digital decorator.
What is this?
You know someone who's the digital decorator, right? That's the person that spends hours setting up their tools, color coding everything, right? Making sure their pencil, crayons, and markers are in the same colors and that their calendar has the same colors and they've got their Pinterest boards or Trello boards or all that stuff are all lined up and they never actually get any work done. Bob, have you met a digital decorator?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Are you a digital decorator, Bob?
No. I tend to want to do something. Like I want to, I'm driving for output, but I'm not going to act like I probably haven't been that person when I've been in a scenario where I didn't feel like I had the inspiration to get the thing done or know exactly right. It's like preparing to do work. We're like working on the work that I'm going to work on, right? It's organizing. Yeah. I mean, now that the more I think, the deeper I go into my career, there's definitely been times where I've been this person.
Folks,
I wasn't even a digital decorator. There was times when I would find myself organizing my office before I was going to pick that call up and, I'm like, oh, well, you got to get these files in order. These ones aren't in the right file cabinet. Right. So
that's right.
Yeah. I think I've been that person.
Okay.
Sure.
Folks, if you spend more time organizing your task list than actually doing your task list, you are playing digital decorator, just so you know. Bob, you mentioned the work about work, right? You mentioned that. There's studies that show us that employees spend approximately 60% of their workday doing work about work, not actually doing the work. That's more than half of the day they are spending preparing to do the work and making sure everything is ready and decorated just right and color coded and whatever needs to be, other than doing the work.
Chad, what was that? Do you remember the guy from Bellingham? I think we interviewed him on the Win Make Give podcast, or from Whatcom County somewhere, and he had that. He ran like an operation where they like every day were looking to improve it, and they had their tools in a certain place. And do you remember this? Like, I'm struggling to remember the guy's name. But this is things like, you know, I'm sitting down in my office, and now I'm into sales mode, so I got to go get the files that I need, and what is that, guys? I'm just going to drive me nuts, and I'll remember it at some point. But in their manufacturing facility, they did all these little incremental things as simple as every time they use a tool, it goes back into a defined place, because next time when I go to use that tool, if I got to look around for it and manage it, like, we're massively inefficient in our workspaces, and some of us are even more so, right? Like, this can really build up fast, especially if you're that type, right? You're like, well, I need everything in order on my desk here, and that doesn't go here, and where's my files at? And
like, you know, the smartest handy people I see, I'm not handy. Believe me, I'm the guy who's got a toolbox with like 4 things in the toolbox.
Yeah.
I love going to someone's house that's handy, that has the pegboard in the garage, and you take a tool down, and there's the outline of the tool that says that one goes here.
Yeah, right? My stepdad, Sam, RIP, he was like that, man. I can remember him coming into the house and being like, who took my pliers, you know? And he'd had 38 different kind of pliers. So then my smart ass brother would be like, which pair of pliers? And he'd be like, you know which pair, you smart asses, the ones that are missing. Because he had an outline of his pliers, like, for real.
That to me is impressive. Yet it's the person who says, I'm going to sit there and do all of this instead of actually building something and cutting wood because they just want this up on their wall. I would be a digital decorator if it came to home projects like that, because I would avoid doing the project and making sure the home shop looked perfect. Folks, don't do it when it comes to work. All right. Number 2, Bob.
Oh, Chad, we've seen these people. We see them every week. We know
the 7 habits of highly ineffective people. Person number 2 is the idea collector. Oh, yeah. Take it, Bob.
I mean, they got all the books on their shelf, Chad. Yep. They've only read 2 of them, but they got them all. Yep. Lots of newsletter subscriptions. There's Gary V's dropping in on them, and all the smartest people out there are informing their inbox. They don't read any of it, but it's coming in. They signed up for it. Chad, they're always at our webinar, man. They're at the webinar. They sign up for the class. They come and see us sometimes in person. Like, they are full of resources that they can go and access. But man, they don't put many of them into practice.
No, Bob, I got to tell you, I won't mention name. This name, I will not out this person. There was somebody who was on one of the webinars that you and I do every week. We do a Brivity webinar. And we were on that webinar, and the person said something in the chat box, right, about needing to grow their business and do that or whatever. And Coach Chad stepped in, and I direct messaged this person, and I was like, how do I help you? What are you going to do about it, right? The next week, they were on the call again, and I was like, what are you doing here? You told me last week you can't even afford to keep your license because you don't have the business, because you're not doing the lead gen. Why are you here? Well, I'm learning because there might be something that... And the next week, they were there again. I'm like, why are you here? Right? Folks, if you are that person that avoids work by buying the book and pretending to read it, by sitting there and saying, oh, well, yeah, I'll sign up to that newsletter too, by sitting in a training class, whether it's digital or live, and never executing anything, you are the idea collector. Okay? Information without execution is just entertainment. Now, hopefully Bob and I are entertaining, yet hopefully you turn it into execution so this becomes value, not just, well, Chad and Bob just pass the time and I can pretend I told people I live to listen to the Win Make Give podcast. right? If you're not going to do anything we're talking about, stop listening.
Yeah.
We don't want you to go. We want you to implement. We talked not too long ago, Bob, about some wealth stuff. You brought us up, right? If you didn't take one of those things, our last episode, we talked about ways to overcome the fear of judgment. If you don't enact one of those steps in there, you're just being entertained, and I hope we're entertaining. Yeah, we'd prefer to be a lot.
Yeah, we're not that entertaining. Like,
No.
you literally should go do something instead of listening to the next episode.
There's way better entertainment out there if you're going to be entertained, right? World Cup is happening at the exact moment that we're talking.
Yeah, what's the score? Holy cow, I forgot. I got at least, I meant to have the game on in the background. Okay, all right, halftime 0-0. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
No, you are incorrect. I need you to restate that score. Audience, it doesn't matter which game because it's over by the time you hear this. It's not 0-0. That's an American.
What do they
It is 0-0, Bob Stewart.
Nil-nil
in that game right now.
In football, in soccer, it's 0-0.
That's right. Yes, in soccer, it might be 0-0. All right, Bob, we're talking about the 7 habits of highly ineffective people. Person number 3, the meeting messiah.
Oh, they love a good meeting.
Oh my gosh. They think every problem can be solved with a 30-minute Zoom session, right? They think that every meeting should run long. They think that meetings are important and they are looking to schedule a meeting to then schedule meetings from. Right? You know this person that sits in way too many meetings. And the University of North Carolina, isn't that interesting? In our last episode, Bob brought up the University of North Carolina. Did not know I was going to tag in some research from the University of North Carolina in this episode. Shows that 71% of meetings have been considered unproductive and inefficient by managers. Bob, 3 out of every 4 meetings you go to, the manager says it's unproductive and inefficient.
Ben, like years ago, Chad, Ben used to, like when it was a small group of us. So when he said something, we all kind of did that thing, right? Like these days, our organization is much, much larger. We're talking like back then there was 10 of us. And so we all got the message and we all were like, okay, Ben said, do this or don't do that. Right. Today we've got 2,000 people. I don't know, a lot. And so the message doesn't always get out, but not that long ago, Ben said, no longer are any of you guys allowed to have recurring meetings, like meetings that are on the calendar to get together and meet about some stuff that we probably should have already been doing. Like, he hates recurring meetings. He basically outlawed them. Now, again, we're such a big organization. There's still a few out there on the calendars. But you're going to be hard pressed to get me to show up to your recurring meeting.
Because nothing's going to get done?
Because I'm doing some work. Like, we moved recently to a thing where a lot of the things that used to be meetings become like shared Google Docs that we can like iterate on and work back and forth on in real time or when I have time, right? Because the reality is most of the time I go to a meeting, it's like, okay, yeah, there's some action item out of here, but you know what? Like, then I'm off doing the next thing. I'm not like going to execute on those action items right away. And so, the meetings, man, meetings,
right?
It's nice that we have a leader in our organization, a couple of them, in fact, that are just like, we don't do meetings, man. You got 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, especially when you start to think about like at a corporate level, like how many dollars just sat in that meeting?
Do you know the answer to that?
Well, let's see.
Don't look at the notes.
Okay, sorry. $37 billion annually wasted in the United States on meetings, unproductive meetings.
$37 billion, Bob. Can I buy a sports team for that? I mean,
yeah. The Seahawks just sold for $9 billion. So yeah, you could buy a few sports teams.
I could buy a few sports teams for the amount of money that's wasted in meetings every year because they are being highly ineffective people. Number 4 on our list, Bob. Who's number 4?
It's the waiting for inspiration artist. I'll do that when I'm inspired. I'm almost ready. I need a little bit of inspiration.
They got to be in the right headspace for it, right? Everything's got to be perfect before they can actually get going. I'm getting ready to do that sort of thing. Okay. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals get to work.
Yeah.
Right?
I
I
mean,
mean,
my
you can
brain's
do things to help you. You can do a little rah in the morning. The team gets together before they rush out on the football field to kind of give themselves some inspiration. If you need something like that, great. Do a workout. Get a partner who you high five before you go make your calls or do your actions. But if you're just sitting there waiting to be inspired, it will never happen. Ever.
I would maybe like there's a variation of this that somebody might be, but they're not assigning it to this. It's the when I feel like it.
Right. Sure.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to knock this out of my son right now. Some days he doesn't feel like going out and shooting baskets. And I'm like, look, okay, that's fine. If your goal is to be a middling high school basketball player, like your goal is to get your college paid for, and you got some really crazy goals that I don't even say out loud because people think we're insane. But most days you're not going to feel like it. It's not hanging out at the pool. Like I always feel like doing that, right? But so the waiting for inspiration person is a cousin to when I feel like it, and both of those are just essentially ways to avoid the work I know I need to do that I don't necessarily want to. I don't feel like it. I'm not inspired to do it. Like unless we're out there saving dolphins, I don't know of a lot of work that I'm like massively inspired to go get done, Chad. Right?
Saving dolphins?
I don't know, whatever people are
Be
inspired
inspired to
by.
go do that? I don't know.
Ben always says, well, if you're gonna run a nonprofit, you might as well go save the dolphins or whatever. Same thing here. Like if you want a job that's gonna, require this, that you have inspiration to go do the thing, like it's not what most of us are doing, right?
And that's not
You
even
just
at
do the
work. Right? I don't know how many mornings I don't want to get on the Peloton, or I don't want to lift, or I don't want to go for a run. That's not a choice.
You have goals.
Right. We have goals. I don't know how many times I don't want to put down my cell phone and necessarily be with the family. I want to just zone out and be okay, but I have goals.
What was Heller? Remember we interviewed Chris Heller not that long ago, and he said It was like he had some mantra.
Yeah, I can't get the quote.
I can't remember what it was, but it was something along the lines of I don't respond to my wants and my not wants. I do what I need to do to get the outcomes I want for my family, or something like that, right? But it's like whenever he was confronted by, I don't really want to do, I'm not inspired to do this, I don't feel like it right now, he'd say, I'm not driven by my wants and my don't wants. I'm driven by my desire to fulfill my goals for my family, or whatever that mantra was.
That's an amateur versus a professional, because he sold so many houses in his career.
He was the CEO of Keller Williams, and he
absolutely. All right, number 5. We are talking today about the 7 habits of highly ineffective people. Number 5 is the reactionary firefighter, Bob. This is the person who the first thing they do every morning is they open their email and deal with everything that exploded. Or they open social media and let other people's agenda completely change their day. Heck, Bob, these are the people that actually cause problems just so they have a fire to run around and put out, right? It's the movie of the week where it's the pyromaniac is actually the firefighter, right? He's running around lighting things on fire so he can show up and be the hero firefighter and put out the fires. Yet he's the one lighting it in the first place. He'd have the opportunity to do so much more if they weren't doing that. Here's a way to know that this is you. Your inbox is your to-do list. Right? You sit there and look at your inbox and say, aha, 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 because none of those things would be considered a priority.
I think this is probably the one, if we were to look on here, that like the highest percentage of people will see themselves in this. It would be my guess. Like you said,
I think the people who are going to all the training might be the highest percentage, because they're not taking something from it. They're just using it as an excuse. Yet I absolutely see this one battling that for the statistics.
You said, do you use your inbox? You said, well, one of the signs would be use your inbox as a checklist. I think there's an even more obvious sign. How often are you in there? Like
in your inbox, you mean?
Yeah, in your inbox. Are you somebody that lets your phone ding you every time you get a mail so that you have to go and you're like, oh, what fire in here might need to get put out, right? Or are you somebody that runs a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has fires everywhere but only checks it twice a day? I'm talking about Ben Kinney, once in the morning, once in the evening, right? Like, And not once, by the way, in the early morning, it's like he gets what he's going to get done. And then there's a check to make sure that, the world's not on fire. And look, these days, I think Aaron's probably serving those things up to him and playing, and helping to figure out what's worth thinking about. But he's not look at his email 5 times a day.
No, I was shocked. I texted him this morning and he answered within 5 minutes. Now, I know if he doesn't answer within 5 minutes, I'm probably never going to get an answer. Yet I was surprised at the time of day. I was just sending him a little gratitude. And
morning, huh? I always go like 11:30 at night. That's my go-to window for getting Ben to respond. Just anybody out there who may need a tip.
I got him at, it was probably about 7 o'clock-ish his world with the time difference. I know your time. I won't tell everybody because I don't want them all stealing when I text you. I even schedule your text. I'm like, I write your text and I schedule, this is when I want it to hit Bob because that's when I get the best response, right? Because folks, if you are allowing, like Bob said, every time your email goes off, ooh, is there a fire? Every time your text goes off, ooh, what's the fire, right? I've got to stop and put it out. You are a highly ineffective person. Congratulations. You found where you fit on this list. Okay. Research from Harvard Business Review, because I love making sure we're backing this up with data for you so you don't think Bob and I are just making crap up. The research from Harvard Business Review, they're smart people, shows that checking email constantly throughout the day will cost you up to 21% of your productivity because you're doing switch tasking, right? You're doing thing, you're jumping your email. You're doing thing, you jump in your email. You got to keep going back and forth and back and forth, back and forth when it comes to it, Bob. Watch for it if you're the one looking for, or even worse, starting fires.
I think Ben was he just one day said something that he just said, look, your inbox is everybody else's priority. We've said this before. They've heard, if they listen to We Make Give, they've heard that before. My priorities were decided last night and I wrote them out and I got my top 3 and I'm going to go knock those out. And the world will demand that you do something other than your priorities if you give it a window into, your eyes and your brain. And that's opening your email before you get out of bed. That's, checking your text message. Ben's gotten to the point he can ignore text messages, which is amazing. Why? Because he's out building. So he has priorities today. Right. Yeah. He might get to you later but it's going to be in his timing. It's not going to be a constant checking. Chad, I don't know how long it's been for me. I turned every notification off on my phone. I don't get any push notifications. If you send me a message on Facebook, I'll get to it when I get to it. It's not going to be on my phone binging me and letting me know that Chad sent me something.
No, Facebook absolutely gets no dinging on my phone. Text messages get no dinging. Nothing gets dinging on my phone, Bob, except my watch. Like if I'm wearing my watch, it'll vibrate at me, and I ignore the crap out of that just because I don't bother turning that off. You are not bothering me on my phone. If it works at a time I check, I'm going to answer you. Okay. Folks, if I checked my email when I first got up, Bob, I'd never get my workout done because then I'd be answering everybody else's things. I'd never get to have my morning cappuccino with Nita and starting my day on the right foot for our marriage because I'd be busy answering everybody else's priorities that had come through. Folks, don't worry about their priorities. Worry about yours. Deal with theirs when you have the time for it. All right, Bob, let's look at person number 6 on the list. That is the fake hustle perfectionist.
It's one last tweak, Chad.
One more. Just I got to move the font just one more point in size.
Yeah,
right?
That slide doesn't. We got to fix this slide before we run this thing out.
I used to be this person. I will 100% throw myself under the bus. When I was making presentations that I was speaking at large conferences or traveling the country, oh my God, the slideshow had to be perfect, right? Ben sat me down one day and said, put one picture on the slide that means something to you and nothing to anybody else. He said, let it just be your trigger. When you see the horse on the screen, it reminds you wanted to talk about Bob having this goal of going to the Kentucky Derby. See how bingo, I worked that one in, right? Everyone else will be like, what's the horse for? Right? But I used to make, the slides had to be perfect. Everything. I used to be this person when I first was getting started and learned how ineffective I was being because nobody at the end of the day cared that I used cobalt blue instead of sky blue in that situation.
Look, and I'm gonna keep going for this one for you, right? And I don't know. what it's a signal of is your avoidance of what you should be doing instead of perfecting that thing. Like, Chad, maybe you should have been out there trying to find more people, making some phone calls to try to get your butt on somebody else's stage, right? And you knew in your head you should have been doing that. But instead of doing that, you had this one event that you were going to, and so you had to really get that one perfect and get that slide dialed in. But in the very, very back of your head, you knew there was something else you were avoiding that you should have been doing that would have made you more productive, would have made you more effective, as the title goes here, right? And so it's not that it's inherently bad to want to have a beautiful presentation as much as it's you spend all this time that's really just avoiding something you should be doing.
Yeah. And nowadays, just ask ChatGPT to do it for you, right? Or Claude, or whatever AI you're using. Let them worry about it, okay? We've all heard the quote before, done is better than perfect. Stop it, folks. Don't be the fake hustle perfectionist. Okay, Bob, so we've got 6 of our 7 highly ineffective people. 1 was the digital decorator. 2 was the idea collector. I think that's the leader. 3 was the meeting messiah. 4 was the waiting for inspiration or when I feel like it artist. 5, we got the reactionary firefighter. You thought that might be the number 1 for everybody out there. The fake hustle perfectionist, I think we both agree, will be in the top 3 as it all plays out. Bob, how about number 7? Who is the 7th most ineffective person out there that
they are the multitasking mythologists. They've created this myth that their multitasking skills, Chad, make them really, really effective at doing lots of things at once. It's a lot.
Yes. Writing the email while listening to Bob and Chad do win, make, give, while they have a Zoom playing in the background at the same time saying, I got this. Oh, and at the same time, since they're working from home, they've got something on the stove.
The World Cup. Oh, the stove. Okay, yep. We got to remember the stove.
Got to remember the stove, right? It's all going. Folks, we've heard it. Multitasking is the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. Now, I can't find it as I'm looking around because I'm not the guy who worries about what my desk looks like perfectly. It's usually cluttered. I used to have a magnet stuck right here within reach that said multitasking is the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. I had 3 or 4 of them because people kept sending them to me.
Chad, Stanford, for your research piece here, Stanford did a study that showed that multitasking will lower your IQ by up to 15 points. And I can't afford that.
No.
I need to focus on one thing. My wife and I joke about this. She's like, she thinks she's a great multitasker, which she is, but she's got a really, really high IQ. So her operating at 15-point IQ lower, she's still just fine.
She's not a great multitasker. She is probably an efficient switch tasker.
That's what she is, for sure.
As we discussed, where she can maybe quicker go from project A to project B. And folks, remember, walking and talking, you can walk subconsciously. So that's not multitasking, right? Being able to do something, breathe. I'm doing breathing while Bob and I are talking. That's not multitasking, okay? Multitasking is Bob and I doing this podcast, yet me reading the email that somebody sent and not realizing Bob stopped talking. Or when he did, going, crap, what did he say?
Don't worry. Dave always cuts those out for us, Chad. So
yeah, sure he does. Every blooper and mistake has stayed. Dave is making a recording of just those for one day when the time's right. Okay, Bob, we talked about 7 Habits Highly Effective People. It's PEFWUS, folks. Go look it up. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Today, we talked about the 7 habits of highly ineffective people. Our challenge for you, don't laugh. Pick the one that is you. Bob, which one of these still sticks with you? Maybe now and then it rears its head and you're one of these 7. Or which one were you, the way I was, that fake hustle perfectionist person for a real long time?
I think the reactionary firefighters, and maybe that's why I said, Chad, that I think that's probably the number one, because that's the one that I still struggle with myself personally. I've gotten really good at the only place those things come into me today is now through text messages. And even that I've gotten better at, right? But man, if I see that thing in there, depending on what it is, a lot of times I got anxiety. I gotta get that thing done for them, or a fear that I won't remember to circle back around. And so that's probably one for me that still bites me sometimes. But I've gotten it down to one lane that it happens in. It's not happening from email and social media messages and phone calls, and it's generally text messages that I still struggle a little bit with kind of controlling. But anyway,
before we get out of here, I'm going to give Bob a big shout out. I don't do it enough. I don't give him props. I give him a hard time here. I make fun of him. He knows he's amazing. He knows I love him and respect the fact that he's here. I make fun of him when he's not here. He doesn't listen to those episodes because he doesn't want to hear me bashing on him. Yet I'll tell you, Bob, 7 habits of highly ineffective people we talked about today. And you sent me a text earlier today when we had 2 episodes we were going to record. And I said, Bob, which one do you want to record first? And Bob said, I have no opinion. I'm actually working on having an opinion on less things in general. So thank you for the practice. Bob, that is helping you move from an ineffective person by having an opinion, caring, taking that time, wasting that energy on answering such a simple question. That you just said, I have no opinion. It does not matter to me. And guess what? Next week, if we're doing 2, I probably won't even ask. Because I'll know you still have no opinion. Because if you did, you would have sent over episode and said, let's do this one first.
Hey, I'll just tell you, that's a great ending, by the way. I think that one should be on our list. Like, we don't have to have an opinion on everything. I've learned this from different people over the years. Ben has been the one that most recently kind of reinforced this message to me. I was a person that for a long time felt like I didn't have an opinion on everything. You asked me, I was going to come up with an opinion, even if I didn't start with one before you asked me, Chad. But that one thing has, I don't know how much mental energy it's saved me in the last year since I've really been practicing hard to not have an opinion on everything. But I know it's saved me a lot of arguments with my wife. I know it's saved me, like, some stuff I don't really mind. I could come up with an opinion if you forced me to and put a gun to my head, but we don't need to have an opinion on everything. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. And guess what? Stephen Covey wrote The 8th Habit of Highly Effective People at some point as a spin-off book because he needed money to pay for his next kid to go to college. We just added the 8th ineffective, right? Highly ineffective people. And that's one that has to have an opinion on everything. Way to tag that on for us with the sequel book, Bob. Folks, figure out which one is you. Work on it this week so you're not the idea person anymore, because you're going to take the information from today and you're going to do something instead of knowing that Bob and Chad just entertained you for the past half hour. Until our next episode, do good.